Hi you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sandra Anyahaebi, and if you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome back. Thank you very much for coming back. And if you're a new subscriber, please do not forget to turn on the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, like this video and all of that, so you get notified whenever I post a new video. So jumping straight into today's video, I had an amazing talk with Tempting Live on Instagram, where we talked about effective ways of dealing with mental illness, handling mental health issues, where to seek help, who to go to. I even listed out organizations that you could find help, therapy, how much therapy costs, at least on an average, and a whole lot of other things. So I just attached the video to this, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to leave me your review or thoughts or questions in the comment box. Enjoy the video.
Right. So my name is Dr. Jones. For those just joining in, my name is Dr. Ibarra Jones, and we are today live with Sandra Anyahaebi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. All right. She's a psychologist and a drug reform advocate, and the founder of Psychebabble Foundation, which is a youth-led NGO set to raise awareness for mental health. And as we all know, we are discussing mental health because a lot of times people don't realize, or they shy away from the fact that mental health is an issue amongst us that people don't want to confront. We tend to shy away from it. So we're doing this to raise awareness that there is something called mental health. There is something called mental health illness, and there is also a solution to this same mental health illness. The same way you get a malaria illness or any other illness and you go to the hospital to get treated, people also come down with mental illness, and they need to actually take it as an illness and get it sorted out. Okay? So, like I said, we are with Sandra today, and she's going to be talking more, or we're going to be talking more about dealing with mental illness, effective ways of dealing with mental illness. She's been doing this for a few years, and she has a lot of experience with dealing with it, especially raising that awareness, because there are psychiatrists, there are psychologists, there are mental health workers and all that, but do people actually know that this is an issue? Is what we are trying to, the point we're trying to make. Do they know that there's an issue, and they know that there's a place you can go when you have such issues? So we'll start by asking Sandra, what is mental health?
Okay, so you know how...
In layman's term, please.
Sorry?
In layman's term, what is mental health?
Of course. We try to simplify everything so people get to understand it and not think it's something really far-fetched, right? And the funny thing is, even professionals in the mental health space, sometimes we tend to use the word mental health when we mean mental illness, right? So basically, mental health is just a person's overall well-being, your emotional health, your physical health, like everything is actually fine, and you are able to cope with your everyday stress of life. You're able to work productively. You're able to do everything without much of a hassle. Like nothing is impairing your day-to-day activities. So that is when we say you have a strong or a good mental health. Right? It's just like exactly. It's just like your physical health. It's just like your physical health, where so long as you are fine, you know how when you're not feeling well, it's inside of you, even when the symptoms have not even started manifesting, inside of you that I think about I think this, or I think that, that at that point you are beginning to be sick, right? But before then, you're probably very fine, your health was doing good. So it's just the same way your physical health is. That is just the same way mental health is. Just that this time it affects your mind, your brain, your day-to-day activities and everything. While mental illness, on the other hand, is the absence of mental health. When it is the absence of mental health. So just that some people these days, some people like to clarify that okay, your mental health is not as strong as it should be, or it's bad, or things like that. But mental illnesses are diagnosable mental health conditions. So I don't want to make it really complicated for people.
Yeah.
It's just absence of mental health, and they are diagnosable mental health conditions. It's just that simple. Yeah.
So that means it's the person themselves that will also know that something is off.
Yeah, most times. Yeah, most times. But other times you may not. Other times, as an individual, you may not know that there is something exactly wrong. That is why when you're talking about mental illness, mental health, it affects your mood, your thinking, your thoughts, and your behavior, right? So in some cases, it's the people around you, your family members, your friends, that tell that there's something wrong as a result of the behavior you're beginning to exhibit, because this is not who you are on a normal day. So your friends, your family members get to point these things out.
Point it out, yeah, so that you can get help. And who is at risk? Who is at risk of?
Oh, that I tell people a lot. A lot of people, especially Nigerians, we just like to believe that some things are just not our own. Like Nigeria, exactly. Nigerians will tell you, no, mental health issues or mental illnesses are problems, white man problem. But the thing is, mental illness can affect anybody of any age, of any race. It's a respecter of no person at any time. So you could be mentally healthy today, and tomorrow you're struggling with your mental health. It is possible, and that is why we are trying to raise the awareness, because it's not a far-fetched thing. And until people see that it is something that could happen to me, happen to my family member, happen to my friend, then we will start taking it seriously. I mean, like the famous statistic that a lot of us usually quote is that 1 in 5 persons get affected by a mental health disorder or a mental health issue. So that means if you're in the midst of 5 people, 1 out of those 5 persons definitely struggling with mental health. So if there's nobody there, then chances are it's probably you. If it's nobody there, exactly. So it's something that we should all put into.
Something as simple as grief. For example, after our session yesterday with Heart Consulting, I had so many questions. People were coming in, they really learned a lot about this, and they had some insight into some of the issues they're facing. And one particular one stood out about a lady who said something about her, she lost someone, or someone loses someone, and they feel guilty that, they didn't do something for that person while the person is alive. They keep beating themselves mentally that, I should have spent more time with this person. I should have. And I told her that the grief reaction is normal. It's normal. I remember when I lost, even being a medical person, I still went through that. I went through it live. The 5 stages of grief reaction. You have to understand that the must be there, that God, it can't happen. This person is not dead. Then you start negotiating, you start feeling guilty, then at some point you accept it as, you know what, this person is gone. For some people it takes a few weeks, for some people it takes a few months, for some people it can take years.
Right.
But
That's right.
At that point, when I remember when I lost my dad, it will be 5 years, June 1st now. And I remember that period, it was like, I know all these things, but now it's happening to me. And at some point I was like, who can I talk to? I need to just talk to someone to get this period. And so a lot of people don't realize that at any point in our life, we can go through it. So everyone is at risk. It may be a temporary, it relates to something more serious. But okay, another example is during this COVID-19 lockdown, in the height of the lockdown, you have so much time on your hand. It's dealing with it. But dealing with it was at some point, like, unless you're mentally strong, some people actually could sink into depression or sink into some kind of mood that to bring the person out hard. I know people who called me and they were saying, "Doctor, I feel like life is ended. Is this how life is going to be now? Are we going to be locked inside our house?" They couldn't deal, they couldn't cope. I even asked is immune from mental health. But how we know about that is what about.
Sorry, I didn't get that for you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. So, but what we are talking about today is mostly some of the effective ways of dealing with mental illness. Now, when we say mental illness, someone is saying the sound is really distorted. But I think it's better now because the noise is down. I think it's better.
Okay. I hope it's better. Please, you guys can let us know if it's better, please.
Is the sound better?
I can hear you fine.
And the rain. Okay. Talking about today is some of the effective ways of dealing with mental illness. So now we've defined mental health and we've said who is at risk, which is every one of us. Even children can exhibit some form of mental illness. Mental illness is not running mad on the road, running naked and running on the road. Mental illness is a state of, this is me normally, and there's a deviation in my mood, the way I do things on a day-to-day basis, and it's taking too long. There are some days you wake up and you feel you don't even know what's making you sad, or you're just sad.
Yeah.
That's okay. But when it goes on for days on end, something is up.
Yeah.
Someone like that needs to have strategies to cope with that and know when to seek help. Maybe you want to let us know some of the things we can do if we have some of these things happening to us.
Okay. So
the little way you can do it.
So first things first, right? I like to tell people that first of all, I always mention therapy. Like in everything, wherever I am, whatever I'm saying, I always mention therapy because I want, especially the young persons, like young Nigerians, I want us to get comfortable with even talking about therapy. I like us to just get comfortable. Like when people hear therapy, they're like, no, I'm not mad, or no, this or that. Like it's not it. There are a lot of people who go to therapy just to talk to somebody. Not like there's anything wrong, but just, it's always good to have someone to listen to you. And what's better than actually talking to a professional, right? So, yeah. So, one of the ways that I can say that people should, that you can cope with this mental illness is, the first thing is try to build a support system, right? Trying to build a system because your family members, it doesn't even have to be just a family member, your friends, the people that you can really trust, right? People that you can really trust, because there are days where even the happiest person can feel really sad. And there are some days where you don't even have the strength to pull yourself out of that sadness, or out of feeling the blue, or out of whatever it is you're feeling. So it is your support system that will help you on days like that. Like a friend of mine used to tell me, she's like, Sandra, you carry a lot of people's problems, carry a lot of people's issues, but who is helping you? Sometimes it's okay. Like, these are people that, regardless, I keep telling people, even the psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, they also have their own counselors. You understand? Yeah, and these, my friends, they are the people that keep me grounded and keep me reminded that, you know what, you should take rest sometimes. It's okay to take rest. It's okay to, I know you want to help everybody, but it's okay to take rest. It's okay to take care of yourself too. So these are people that even when I begin to feel down and I'm not aware of it exactly, these are people that point me like, Sandra, come. Something, you're beginning to, something is wrong somewhere. You understand? So that's the impact of support system. It's always good to have your support system, but be very careful of the people that support you. Someone that you know is very supportive. Someone that you know truly loves you.
Before you pick your support system, you must be sure that this person is not gonna work against you.
Exactly.
Come in.
Exactly. That is why confidentiality and everything. So your support group must not necessarily be a family member. Because even in Nigeria, most family members do not want to accept the fact that if their daughter, their sister, their brother has a mental health condition. Most of them do not even want to accept it. So someone like that cannot be a support group because they don't understand what is happening to you. So it's always good to build your support system, right? And another thing is to, first of all, you have to accept that something is going wrong. You have to accept that there's something wrong, first of all, because I keep telling people, till you agree that there's something wrong with you, there's only so much anybody can do for you. Yeah, there's only so much anybody can do for you till you agree that there's something wrong, right? So you have to accept that there's a problem, and then find your support group, and then be emotionally aware, because you need to understand your, like, that's why we always talk on self-awareness, emotional awareness, because these things, it helps you be in touch with your own emotions. It helps you be in touch with yourself, so you can quickly identify when something is wrong, when something is not wrong. And finally, just these are just a few tips. Finally, you can always seek help, therapy. There are people readily available to help.
Okay.
Yeah, there are people readily available to help. Just seek therapy. So yeah, those are just some of the few things that you can do.
We build a support group. In summary, we build a support group. Be aware
Support system.
when we're having such issues, and then seek help.
Yeah.
I think we should just keep all those ones and seek help.
Exactly.
Because some people have confided in people thinking, okay, I'm telling someone about my problem, and at the end of the day, the next thing you hear is, oh, I thought I was confiding in a friend. And so that's why some people bottle things up sometimes. And when you bottle things up like that, at some point, it explodes, and at that point, it may be right? Okay, so those are some of the ways we can deal with it. The support system is really, really, really important. But
it's
when
really
you say support, if someone is actually having this issue, in what ways can people around someone who is ill, in what ways can they support? Yeah, we can give it a listening ear, but is there other way? Because one other thing I noticed is that once people are looking for your support, the next thing you think is, oh, the person wants money from me or something. So are there other ways the people around someone who is dealing with a mental illness can support the person?
Yeah, so that is why I first of all said find your support system, because these are people that like I mentioned, this should be people that genuinely love you and want to see you succeed, want to help you and things like that, right? Because as much as there's so many people, I come across a lot of people come to me and like, Sandra, I have a friend that's currently struggling with their mental health, but they don't want to seek help. And there's nothing I can do in that situation. I can't force therapy on you. I can't force you to go to the hospital. I can't force you to do anything, right? So at that point, it is basically like the duty of your support system to be there
in that direction.
You to actually that's why I always tell people, well, thank you for reaching out first of all, because you reaching out means, okay, you know where to find this help. Right? So now you're available to help, but now it is also your duty as the support system of that friend it's also your duty as the support system of that friend to continue to encourage them and push them to seek therapy, right? So your support group, because you are as an individual, you are just the support system of that person. You are not necessarily a professional in this aspect, right? So as much as you can provide a listening ear and be there for them and encourage them and do things for them, the main thing you can do is always encourage them to take that step to go to therapy. Or if possible, go to therapy with them, right? To help, to, give them that ginger that they need. Just go to therapy with them. Suggest to go with them, just to be there for them. And if they need anything else, for instance, if there are persons that are struggling really, really hard, that their mental health is really, really bad, probably struggling, let's say, chronically with, let's say, something like maybe schizophrenia now, for instance, you can do basic things for them. People that, for instance, their mental health is not letting them go out of their house. People that have anxiety, especially in this pandemic. I know somebody that has not stepped out of a house in days and weeks, and it's going to months now because of anxiety. So if there's a support system of that person, what you can do is help them, possibly get grocery for them, things like that. Just that is the most important thing. Yeah, I know people who do these things, because the thing is, a lot of people still don't understand the impact of mental illness on an individual. People still don't understand that. You understand? People still don't understand that. So if you are someone's support system, I encourage you to read up on that person's mood, read up on whatever, if the person has been diagnosed, read up on what the issue is so you know ways that you can help them. And also take care of yourself as a support system because it can be really, really overwhelming.
It can turn around for you. Okay. So
Yeah.
Cute Little Tricks is asking, what do people who find it difficult to talk do? So somebody is going through something, but they find it, how do you get them to open up, to talk? So they know they're going through something, they know they need help. So I don't know how you're going to answer this question, but how do they seek this help that is needed?
Literally still the same thing, right? Fine, for instance, if you are a friend of someone who is struggling and they do not want to talk, it is still the same thing because you can't force them to talk. That is where the problem is with mental health issues. It's not like physical health that if somebody is, let's say, injured or something, you can take them to the hospital and they can literally just treat them of that injury. This person is struggling with their mind, and it's a whole different ball game for them. So the best thing I keep telling people, I know it doesn't seem like much, but to that person it's a lot. Keep being there for them. Listen to them. Keep encouraging them to actually seek help because there is only so much you can do for somebody who is struggling with their mental health. And if you're someone who is struggling with your mental health, you can always, even if you don't want to talk to somebody face to face, for instance, my organization, Psychebabble, we have a virtual platform. Like we have cases where we talk to clients, and we are currently running it at it's currently free, right? So you just send us a message on WhatsApp, and you get to talk to a counselor. Okay. Yeah, you get to talk to a counselor free of charge for now. So these are ways that we're encouraging people to actually reach out. And we notice there are some people that when they reach out, it's with the intention that fine, there's what's the worst that can happen. This is someone I know there's a possibility I may never ever see in my entire life. Right? So because people just, especially young people in Nigeria, they have this notion that if I'm talking to somebody that I might see or someone I know, yeah, so it doesn't give them the ability to open up and explain how they truly feel. So when people notice, well, this is actually confidential, it's private, nobody knows what is happening. Once I am done with, like it encourages people to actually seek help. So that's the best thing I can say, and anybody can do. Just keep encouraging your friends and be there for them.
All right. So right now you're offering a free consultation, you say?
Free counseling.
Counseling. For how long is this open for? So that the people
so it's been on since the year started. Even before now, we've been doing it, but not as effective, especially throughout this pandemic period. We've had
those who and how has the response been? Have people been responsive? Have they?
Okay. People have actually been. There was a time, like especially before they eased the lockdown, there were lots of people reaching out that we had to keep looking for people who are willing to do these services for us. Yes, volunteer for us because we had a lot of people. It's one thing to be suffering from a diagnosed mental health condition, and it's another thing to not even be sure what is going on with you. You don't even know what is happening. But because of the whole lockdown, because of the pandemic, a lot of people, most of the cases we had were anxiety. People were unsure how they feel, like they don't even know.
A lot of anxiety, especially when you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that was, but so far, because of the ease of the lockdown, people have started
normalizing
easing back into it and getting comfortable, not comfortable, but getting acquainted with this whole situation.
The new normal. With the new normal, right? I don't know how this can be normal. But do you think there might be some rebound effect at some point in the future? Maybe later. I know people who have gone through some trauma, they can have post-traumatic issues months after the issue has gone. Do you see a likelihood that at some point this may come up?
Yeah,
So
actually,
You may think
Actually,
you've
I
dealt
do.
with it now, but in the future, something you are doing is as a result of what happened recently, this period.
Yeah. I was speaking to some of my friends who also run NGOs, and especially one who run a mental health NGO in Ghana. And we were talking about this recently because I feel like there are a lot, especially Nigerians, right? As
Yeah.
much as because we are very we are very happy people. Nigerians are very happy people, right?
Yeah.
And I just have a feeling that a lot of Nigerians would experience the psychological impact of the whole COVID situation
Yes.
after it, because even like I just because we're currently working on something as an organization. We're currently working on something for after the whole COVID thing, because it's going to take a lot. Though they've eased down the whole lockdown, there are still a lot of people who have still not resumed work. So this is like almost like a normal thing for them now. And by the time people resume work, resume school, resume like different things, some may not even be able to directly cope like
With it.
they used to before, right? Because this is not something easy. Like as much as we try to see, be happy about, okay, we at least we are still alive, at least we have
Yeah.
family members who are still
Exactly.
healthy, like that.
You know,
There
at
are
least
still some people,
I better pass my neighbor syndrome, eh?
yeah, so there are still some people who indirectly this is affecting a lot, and there are still a lot of persons who are currently struggling with anxiety, struggling with OCD, struggling with a lot of things. I know a friend who wakes up at night just to wash her hands. And when I tell her, do you know there's something wrong? She says, "Oh, no, it's nothing. It's just precaution." I'm like, you're in your house,
And sanitize a place where nobody has passed through.
washing your hands.
Okay, so
So
someone was
yeah,
asking a question, which is also what we're talking about. That Toke lady, she wants to know, how do people who normalize their past pain to function, even though it's affecting them? Do they need therapy? So I'm assuming what she means is someone has normalized something in the past and is functioning to some extent, or it looks like they are functioning. Do you think they still need therapy?
so it's okay. It's okay. If you are the one, I'm going to take this personal because I
Oh,
know
yeah.
her. She's a friend of mine. So if you are the one who have normalized this pain and everything, that you are asking is a sign. Is a sign you know that you need to talk to somebody, because normalizing there's a difference when you normalize pain and when you actually deal with it.
The
Some
pain,
people
yeah.
try to just, it has happened, it has happened. Let's just move
Moving
on.
on.
There are some people that allow themselves to feel all of the emotions and deal with it properly and find healthy coping mechanisms to deal with these things. But if you know you have just pushed it aside, you have repressed it, one thing I tell people is repressed emotions come back more aggressive. So as
Yeah.
much as you are trying to push it down, as much as you're trying to, move on, but if you think you have moved on, you think you have dealt with it, but then when something happens, it
May,
triggers it
may bring
triggers
it
it.
back again, yes.
Not that you have not properly dealt with it yet. You have not properly dealt with it. So it's advisable that you seek
You
proper
deal
measures.
with it properly, to be sure you actually deal with it. Because we have people
Exactly.
who have had traumatic experiences in their childhood. It doesn't show up until adulthood. The
Exactly. Yeah.
repercussions are ahead. So you see a husband, a young boy who has had trauma in his childhood, now beating the wife for some weird reason. It was suppressed all this while, and then it shows up at some point. So professional help will come in to help the person deal with it, accept it, and then move on with it. That's properly dealing with it. Now, I know you are running the free consultation now, but I'm sure some of our listeners would like to know, on a good day, if I was to seek therapy, how long will I need to speak with a therapist, and roughly what cost? What are the cost implications if I need to say, okay, I need to speak to, you're smiling. I need to speak to a psychologist for so and so. Is it a 30 minutes session, 1 hour session, per session, or just give us an idea?
Okay. So basic therapy sessions are supposed to last 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Some people extend it all the way to 1 hour, right? Some people extend it all the way to 1 hour. But then again, when it comes to the cost of therapy, a lot of persons say, therapy is expensive, therapy is expensive. Honestly, in Nigeria, therapy is really not expensive. Like, it actually, no, honestly, it's actually cheap, just that it is not exactly affordable.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense. It is not exactly affordable, but it's not really expensive, honestly, because by the
Okay,
time
so
you
do you
consider,
want to put a cost to it, or you're shying away from that question?
so I don't want to put a cost to
Give
it.
put a
Why?
range. Put a
I
range.
can't put a range. Why? Because everybody, so there is no one size fits all. There's no one cost covers it all. Like, for instance, you want to buy a face mask, face masks are between this range to this range, but it's not the same thing. Why? Because when you go to one therapist, he or she may call a certain price, and by the time you go to a different therapist, it's a whole different price altogether. Why?
Yeah, we
Because, for instance,
understand, but what the question? Because somebody has actually asked me that question. What is the
yeah,
average cost of a consultation with a doctor? Would be 15,000, 10,000 per visit and all that. We just want to have like an idea. Are we looking at
yeah,
in the
that's what I'm
hundred,
saying.
in the 100,000,
Yeah.
or in the 20,000, or in the 80, or in the 1 million? I know it will vary. We just want to have a
Yeah.
basic.
So what I'm going to do is, because I can't just put a price out there. So you know how Nigerians are, will carry that price on
We
our
can't
head.
put a gun to
And
them and say, you said.
I can't- so, but what I would say is, I have friends, and I also have people that Psychebabble work with, like our in-house professionals that we work with. Some
Yes.
of them, I think there's one who charges for initial consultation is about, I think, 15,000 naira, and then per session is about 10 to 15,000. Another charges initial consultation 20,000, per session 25. Then one of the hospitals we work with charge initial consultation for 15,000, and per
Wow.
session is 20,000. Yeah, and
Okay.
then there are some people who charge way higher than this, and there are some people who
Definitely.
charge, and there are some people
We
who
just want
charge
to be sure
way
that
less.
it's up to is in the what's it called? The average person can
Yeah, so
afford
there are
it.
some
That's why
people
we
who
just
charge
want to have
less than
minimum
charge.
basic. So definitely, if you go into some kind of facility, you know that, oh, they will charge me like 100,000 here. But then
Yeah.
again, you know that for what you're looking for, you can actually get that, because a lot of people don't have an idea at all. That's why I put you on the spot there to at least give us an idea, so that when we have people reaching out to us to say they need someone to, we can say, oh, this person can we can actually get this service. And then it also demystifies the whole thing, because a lot of people believe that once someone has a mental illness, when you get to the doctor, they will charge the hell out of you because they know that you are desperate.
Yeah.
Okay, so because I've heard that before, that, oh, God forbid somebody's enemy has mental illness, the doctors will not spare you because they know that you are desperate, and so they can, any amount they charge you, you will have to look for it to pay. So, but now
So
we have an idea.
let me quickly say this. Yeah, there are some people who charge way less for just basic therapy or consultation. Why? Because they are trying to promote people actually seeking help. They are trying
Seeking
to
help.
awareness that you can actually seek help. But in case you are somebody who have been to a therapist or a psychologist or whoever, and you were charged at a really subsidized rate, that is because the person is really just trying to help people, so which is part of what we're also trying to do, right? Which is also part of what we're trying to do at Psychebabble. But currently providing this counseling free of charge, so people can reach out more. So, but then when the case is severe, we refer you, and at that point, it is no longer in our power. And also, there's some when some people say, I went to a psychiatrist, or I went to a hospital, and they were charging me, let's say, over 100,000, over 200,000. Most
Yeah,
times it's not because of just the therapy.
there are
That's
other.
understand? Sometimes medications are involved. Sometimes if you are inpatient, there's admission, there's bed space, there are things like that. You understand? And I need people to also understand that because there are mental health facilities and because we are trying to promote awareness for mental health, that does not mean it is now charity.
Okay, exactly.
People, I've had people come to me and like, oh, Sandra, I need to talk to somebody. I'm like, oh, okay, book a session. Use the link in my session. And they're like, I don't understand. It's not supposed to be free. I'm like, do you go to the hospital free of charge to see a doctor? These are people. These are professions. These are people's. These are our jobs. You understand?
Yeah.
And don't be trying to help and promote a healthy living. That does not mean that it is now automatically charity or something of that nature. So people just need to, and I needed to clarify that.
Good. Yeah, because I was telling my guest yesterday from Pat Consulting that I know somebody who paid some ridiculous amount of money to talk to a foreign therapist. He had what's it called? Somebody jilted him, or the girlfriend said she was leaving, and of course he couldn't handle it. But he had to somehow reach out to a friend who gave him a therapist contact in Sweden. And the amount he told me he paid was going to about 300 and something thousand naira.
Per session?
For I don't know how long the session was, but I mean, how many sessions did he have? Because he couldn't have had more than 2 or so sessions. But what he said was that all the interventions the person gave didn't even work with the Nigerian environment. It was a white person that was giving him the therapy, and it really didn't work. But he paid that money because he knew that. He said he felt like he was going to run mad. He couldn't sleep, he couldn't eat, he couldn't function, he couldn't do anything, and so he needed to seek that help. So we are saying we should get into the habit of seeking help from professionals early, so that it doesn't pile up, accumulate, and then disable us at some point. Because you can't function properly if you have something on your mind that is weighing on your mind days on end. Okay? All right. So
people also need to understand. People also need to understand that as much as Nigerians idolize foreign things, as much as we idolize foreign things and foreign medical treatment, there are capable hands in Nigeria also, and these are people that would take time out to carve out strategies and solutions tailored for you,
for your environment.
Yes, because when it comes to mental health issues, there's no one size fits all. Even if I have anxiety and you have anxiety, one treatment might not work for the both of us because of other.
Especially when you look at the things surrounding what caused your anxiety and what caused the other.
So we have a lot of Nigerian professionals who can do these things, tailor strategies for you, just for you, and you will see results. You don't need to go all the way somewhere for somebody. There are a lot of, and especially now, we have a lot of organizations coming forth in every area of Nigeria dealing with mental health issues. So you can always, there are lots of them.
Yeah. And there are different types of mental health issues that people could seek help for. Because when we say mental health, some people still may not understand what we're saying. No, mad people. No, it's not mad people. I'll give an example. There's a young man that I know that is very ambitious. You know what is ambitious? It's young man he's driven. So people look at him and think there might be an issue because at his age, he doesn't have any issues he's dealing with in terms of money, but he's so driven that someone who is in their 40s or 50s, they're driven like that, you understand. But he needed to see a therapist to like calm him down a bit because he was having insomnia. He couldn't sleep and all that. So he didn't have a sickness per se, but he knew that this overdrive that he was on, he needed someone to help him channel that energy. And that was what he sought help for here in Nigeria, and he's doing very well with that. So what are some of the kind of issues people could seek help for? That just give an example of dealing with
so Nigeria, especially in Nigeria, I will always use Nigeria as an example because I mean, obviously, but in Nigeria, right, a lot of people think, like you said, when they hear mental health or mental illness, they automatically, the first thing that sits in their mind, sorry about that, the first thing that takes up in their mind is madness. So what the average Nigerian calls madness is called schizophrenia, which is just it.
One.
Yeah, exactly. Issues, mental health illnesses, right? So, and also I've noticed that most Nigerians, what we struggle with a lot, it's usually anxiety. Yeah, mainly anxiety.
Anxiety, depression, insomnia. But
Yeah,
insomnia
a
is
lot.
an issue. Stress.
Yeah, there's insomnia, and the thing is, when people are talking about mental health issues, someone was telling me, why is that we're always mentioning anxiety and depression in Nigeria? Anxiety and depression, anxiety and depression.
Because
I'm like,
that's what
because
we have.
the main thing we are fighting in Nigeria. That is the most, if you want to rank mental health issues, at least that people have spoken about, that warriors have, that's mental health survivors, mental health issue survivors have spoken about, is mainly anxiety, depression, and some of them, somebody said anxiety is number one.
Number
So
one,
yeah,
yes.
especially in this pandemic now, anxiety is like at the top of
Way
it all.
up there. I had
Yeah,
anxiety during the at the
exactly.
height of it was crazy with all the messages going around on social media. At some point, I had to shut it down because it was messing with my head.
Exactly. So there are lots of issues we have. Let me start again. Obviously, we have anxiety,
Yeah, Dr.
depression.
Adeton is helping us out. Dr. Adeton is
Oh,
anxiety, depression, stress,
exactly. There are even
schizophrenia,
eating
fear.
disorders. When I mention eating disorders to people, a lot of people are like, "It's not possible. There's nothing like eating disorder." I'm like, "Are you sure there's nothing like eating disorder?" Because
Body dysmorphism and all that.
yeah, yeah, exactly. There are a lot of mental health issues.
Hi,
People really
Remy Glow. How you doing? Thank you for joining. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
a lot. There are a lot. Like Dr. Adeto, I think, was already
Yeah.
mentioning. There are so many things. But then what people need to also understand is as much as we know that there are different kinds of mental health um, illnesses or mental health diagnosis, we also need to understand that you may not exactly be diagnosed with one of these mental health issues, but also your mental health may be suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's two different things. You may be diagnosed and also just be struggling with
Okay,
your
I'm
mental
being
health because
diagnosed with OCD now. Remy Glow, you are diagnosing me with OCD, yeah?
so yeah, so there are just a lot of things. So that's why I always encourage people. Whenever you're feeling even overwhelmed, you're just tired, you just whatever it is, just try
There's
as much
someone
as
you can
possible to
talk to
normalize.
smoothen the way, right?
I didn't get
Because there are
that.
so many. All
Yeah, they
right.
are.
Yeah, so I think we've almost spent all our time now. So that's wonderful. So we've summarized what mental health is. We talked about the part. We've also looked at some of the ways friends around you can support you. And I mean, we should be a friend. We should be a friend in need. It doesn't mean when somebody needs you, you are giving money. Because that's what a lot of us are. I don't want to let them keep their problem to themselves. Sometimes somebody confiding in you and you keeping that what they told you goes a long way. You might know, okay, I'm not able to help, but please, so and so person can help you. You can direct them to the right place.
Like,
Okay.
yeah,
So
it's just
and we've
important
also
to know
talked
where to
about
get.
where we can seek help. There are lots of organizations now.
Yeah.
Psychebabble is offering free consultations.
Oh, I can mention some for you. I can
Mental.
mention some other things.
Okay, yeah, please. Maybe you should help us with one or two
Um,
others.
So off the top of my head, I know a few, at least I've worked with a few. Obviously there's Psychebabble, there is Mentally Aware, some of us know Mentally Aware Nigeria. There is OLAMMA Cares, there is ASAD is Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad. There is Hey
Yeah, we
Foundation,
didn't
that
talk
is,
about suicide. We didn't mention suicide when we were making a list. It
yeah,
wasn't
most
something
times
that was common amongst us before.
I purposely did not mention suicide because it's usually as a result of a mental health issue.
One of those, okay.
Yeah, usually as a result of a mental health issue. So yeah, like I was saying, there is Psychebabble, there is Assad. Assad is anti-suicide and depression squad. There is Hey Foundation. Hey Foundation is in Ghana and also in Nigeria. That's How Are You Africa. There is OLAMMA Cares. There is also you know, if you go to Psychebabble, yeah, I'll just handle here. If you go to Psychebabble highlights, you would find a place written resources. Right there, you can find different organizations. You find different organizations. You can find different professionals that you can talk to. So I'll just type out the handle Psychebabble. So people can, once you go, just check out the highlight that says resources.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much. So in rounding up, Remy Glow just mentioned mental illness. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. So maybe you can pin that so people can.
Okay. Did you type it in just now? Okay.
Yeah, just typed it in.
Okay. So Remy Glow just mentioned mental illness are underdiagnosed in Nigeria, mostly because of stigma. So in rounding up with this session, maybe we should talk a bit about that stigmatization and all that, and how do we overcome it? I mean, this awareness campaign is one of the ways we are trying to help, but is there any other means of removing this stigma? They are ill. It's like someone having malaria, having high blood pressure, having diabetes, or any other physical illness. I mean, in the WHO classification of health, mental, physical, social, you have to be grounded to be called health. Well, you have to take care of your physical health, your social health, and your mental health. So I don't know why we'll just stigmatize someone and say this person is mad. So this person is going to say going to the madhouse. So stay away from the person. Maybe you want to say one or two things to round up on stigma, on stigmatization. How to
Stigma, yeah. Why people just do this is because most times people do not just understand. You know, people tend to not even give ear to something that they do not understand. So because people do not understand what exactly mental health is, that is why personally, whenever I'm talking on mental health, I try to simplify it as much as possible so people understand that it's not far-fetched, it's not by big grammar, it's not by plenty English. You understand? These are things that could affect the average Nigerian. So in breaking the stigma, for instance, like you are doing this awareness or this campaign on Instagram live sessions. We're also on an awareness for this month of May that we have people submit in videos of themselves or just speaking about how you overcome your mental health issues, what you think mental health is, just anything. Why? Because when you make these videos and we post them, some people repost them to their WhatsApp, to their Instagram, to their Facebook. Even the people who made these videos post it on their WhatsApp status. And I encourage people to always, even if you don't have to always be the one coming up with some of these things. There are lots of organizations, there are lots of pages on Instagram, on the web that you can just copy some things from and post on your status, wherever. Always talk about mental health, because if you do, your neighbor would be like, oh, okay, so I'm currently struggling with my health and I feel like I need to talk to somebody. And so always talk about it. So that means I can actually talk to them and they know where I can get help, and they would listen without judgment.
Yeah,
so
that judgment is important.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. You know, starting with our circle, starting with our family members, with our friends. By the time you continue, so look, because if we all keep quiet and we're like, yeah, let the organizations be doing it, let the hospitals be doing it. Nobody
will handle it.
Yes,
and we keep rejecting it. We reject it. It won't come here.
Exactly. Nobody will pay attention to it. But then when you see that your friend speaks about mental health all the time, they know that, oh wow, so that means if this person can talk about it, I can talk about it too.
Go seek help.
I cannot talk about it. You understand? These are things, and also on Psychebabble, I know I'm mentioning it a lot, but it's our way of promoting mental health awareness. We have something where if you also look at our highlight page, you'll find where we wrote warriors. We encourage people who have struggled with their mental health issues to speak out. So they send us their stories and then we post them for people to read. And then by the time people are reading these things, they feel like, I know this person. This person is a typical Nigerian and they actually struggled with this. So wow, that means it is something really close. Yeah. So, but ultimately, if we talk about mental health, you talk about mental health, your neighbor talks about mental health, these people around you will notice that it is something that it is something it's a normal thing. Exactly, it's not a big deal. Exactly. So
you can seek help and get help and move on.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Sandra. We've had a wonderful time today. In fact, we don't want it to end, but we have to end it at some point. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you because you've done quite some work, like from what I've seen from your page. And we hope that going forward, a lot of people will also key into this and help demystify that thing. Like Dr. Adetoye said that people run when we say Yaba left. I remember the last time I had a program there. And somebody said, "What are you doing there?" I'm like, "I'm a doctor. I went for a program there." I said, "Oh, okay." Yaba left is like a taboo. So thank you so much. Nobody wants to hear it.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And also, please do not forget to leave me your thoughts, your ideas, your opinions, questions that you might have in the comment box. And I promise I will respond to every single one of them. So please do not forget to leave me your comments and your questions. Till next time, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye.